All right. Hello, Virgo, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's such a pleasure to see you. Little Apollo's chilling out in the background. Welcome so much. Welcome, and thank you so much for coming to your monthly forecast. We're going to be taking a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks, navigating all of the opportunities, the twists and turns, and everything in between. Thanks for showing up. It's good to see you. All right, I always like to begin with channeled messages at the beginning. These come primarily through dreams, but also through meditation. This morning, I was picking up on new connections and also a need to sort of like clear the air or clear the energy. So one of my primary totems, it's not always in the animal or plant kingdom. Today was the energy of plumbing, which for me is really about opening up and making sure that everything is flowing in the way that it needs to be flowing. So as we look at projects, people, and jobs, and all the different things that you invest your time and energy into, there's really sort of a call to action here to sort of see, is it serving your highest good? Does it feel like this is a connection that's adding something to the equation? And with the plumbing, I actually did see that it needed to be repaired. So we're looking at other things like preventative maintenance or just being ahead of things in your life. Like I said, cleaning and clearing the air. And then also liberation. And a little bit about partnerships that are incoming, and I think that's why all of this clearing and cleaning needed to happen first. By the way, if you just joined, you can use this for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Right after this, we'll look at the cards, their complementary energies, and 2 different ways of divinating. All right. So I think all of this is really coming through to help you clear up your energy, clear up your mind, clear up your intentions. So the plumbing that I saw in my dreams broke in the bathroom. Just in case it's literal for some of you, it might be time to take a look under the sink or around the toilet or in the shower and just make sure that everything looks good. I typically take these more as symbols than literal pieces, but some of you may have that, so I just wanted to put it out there. So I see it as information flow. So if some of you may be in particularly like in a work situation where you're not getting a free-flowing sort of communication of status, expectations. This can also be in a relationship. You don't know what your partner wants. They may not know what you want. You may feel like there's a blockage. So it can just simply be a communication blockage that the plumbing represents. It can also be things that are left unsaid that end up just sort of clogging up your ability to listen because you're holding on to something energetically. So it could be just a matter of saying, hey, I really need to talk about this and this. Do you have some time today? And then from that moment forward, things are just going to be a lot easier for the both of you. And this is also freeing yourself from anything that really isn't adding to your overall satisfaction or isn't returning on the energetic investment. This can be old activities that you used to do that you're not deriving joy from. It could literally just be stuff that people are piling on and you're like, I don't have time to do your stuff in addition to mine. So clearing things up, that's the number one thing that's coming through. We're going to be entering into, if you're watching this live, retrograde's going to start next week around the 21st, and then it ends the following month that I'll be reading for here, May, around the middle of the month. So this is a good time to clear the air as well during retrograde, so that stuff doesn't continue into the next quarter of the year. So preventative maintenance. If you know that you need to do something, if you feel like it's been a while since something's been taken care of, whatever that might be, financial, health-wise, even in the relationship, we haven't talked for a while, we haven't hung out for a while. This is a good time to just get ahead of it. Don't wait for the other person to reach out to you. Don't wait for something to break. It's so much better when you're there. When I first moved into this place, there was an issue where basically because no one had been living here for a few months, it wasn't caught. And now I'm here. And the person said, thank God somebody's here because now you're catching things before damage happens. And so, it's just like living in an apartment or a car. Like if you have a car and you haven't driven it for a while, the same thing happens. The battery doesn't work. The oil may not be sort of going through it. So we want to just make sure that you're checking in on stuff. The things that you can look at here, like I said, it could be cars, homes, other machinery, but this could also be about getting insurance and preparing, doing your homework before an important meeting or presentation. Always double check the sort of flight list, the times, all of this stuff to make sure that you're ready. And this is really good during retrograde too. Being like doubling down on not just the insurance portion, but the preparation portion as well. Okay. All of these things can serve you well anytime, but especially during this period. Now, the plumbing, when I looked at it through my mind's eye in the dream and meditation, it was done. So to me, when you look at the tower, there can be different things. It can be like leaky roof, electrical issues. You see the lightning bolt. It can be water, plumbing issues. Something needed to give. Now, this can also be something in your life that you've been holding on to. So all of what we just talked about will help you get ahead of the tower. But for those of you that are watching and you're like, I wish I would have listened a month ago or 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got your back here. It's okay. When the tower comes through, it's still okay. It's basically the universe saying the same thing that I just said. I know that you're having a hard time, so let me support you by giving you no option but to move on. In my daily card reading for today, April 14th, I talked about I think it was the Knight of Cups reverse, about rejection being a form of protection. And the same thing goes for having no choice. So when there's like layoffs, when there are certain things that make a place inhospitable or uninhabitable, it's sort of like you have to move on. And typically you find yourself in a better space. The tower can be a little shaky, it can be a little bit discombobulating, but it's always worth it. And it is a form of liberation, just not the most enjoyable form, but it's still there for your benefit. There is no card in the 78 or so odd cards that isn't here to help you. And that's why you should never be afraid of looking at a tarot spread. It's about preparation, information, and you get to decide what to do about it. So even if the tower comes up today, we'll figure out how to navigate through it. And if you're in the throes of the tower, the best thing to do is to basically go with the flow. Don't try to fight it. If you can't stay where you're at, figure out where you need to go next, okay? Liberation, freedom, free to decide, free to explore something new. Then the final piece that I saw, I kept seeing gatherings and I didn't recognize anybody. And I got the feeling that the main person in the dream didn't recognize anybody. So this is strategic partnerships that are coming through. People seeing value in you, even if you don't anticipate or understand or even embrace that same sense of value that they see. One piece of advice I'd like to leave you with before we get into the main spread here is that if the universe sees you as being ready for something and an opportunity is put in front of you, who are you to question that? Like really sort of go with it and think, wow, I guess I really am worth this. Let's try this. Let's give this a shot. If the universe sees this as something that I'm worth, then I'm worth it. So allow yourself to see increased value and opportunity on the horizon. Don't second guess what you're manifesting, especially when it's good stuff. It's hard sometimes to believe that you've actually, accomplished that, but yes, you have. All right. So again, we're in the monthly reading. We're going to now take a look at the Celtic Cross. I'm going to turn the camera down. I'm going to use the unicorn deck with you, the last unicorn. You can look at my website if you want to see links to the different decks that I use. Let's go ahead and get everything shuffled up here and see what's coming through, folks. How's everybody doing, by the way? Hope you're doing well. Ten of Cups. I'll take it. 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. Very similar energies. Go with the flow. All right, give me 1 second. All right, let's begin, folks. In the catalyst position for today, I'm not as familiar with this particular plant, but what came to me as I'm looking at this is the veil of twilight and sort of the things that get revealed as you're in that liminal space. So liminal meaning the in-between space between where you are and where you want to be. To me, this is representing that liminal space. So not everything's going to be completely black and white, completely clear in this moment in time. And I think what you really want to allow yourself the ability to do is to dream, connect, express, explore things a little bit, and really allow for everything to come into focus. Because I'm looking at this under the veil of twilight. So as things start to unfold in your life, I think that clarity will come. And sometimes we want everything laid out in front of us as a guarantee, as something that is absolutely in black and white. So just give yourself time to, I think the thing that keeps coming through for you, Virgo, is trust. Trust that this will work out because your feelings, including how much you fear or how much you anticipate something, they are absolutely manifestation vehicles. So I want you to try to manifest opportunity and belief and some good stuff. So that's the first message here. Now, as we take a look at this Celtic Cross in front of us, which again is going to take you through the next 6 to 8 weeks, your center card is actually quite auspicious. We have the Three of Cups. Let me just clean my glasses here, and then we'll move forward. Okay, someone gave me a hard time for cleaning my glasses, and I'm like, do you want me to see or not? I just have oily skin, and sometimes they get dirty. Okay, Three of Cups in reverse. Three of Cups basically is a chance to open up to new relationships, new partnerships, new opportunities. The reversal of this makes you an unlikely social butterfly. It's sort of like you've either been in a space in your life where you've just been doing way too much and you think to yourself, okay, now I'm just going to take it easy, everything's going to be fine. And that's exactly when your social calendar lights up even more. Or you're the kind that really does like privacy and wants to just keep to themselves, but nonetheless, this is your time to basically be out there. It's worth the effort. It's worth the discomfort. You're going to be fine. You're more like this unicorn in the front, which is a little bit shy, but it's the person that everybody wants to sort of spend some time around. The Three of Cups also brings with it this unexpected partnership in a good way. I was talking about this earlier, but you could meet someone that's going to be integral to you getting a job or meeting a new love interest in your life, someone of that nature. And it's basically just saying, you gotta push yourself out of your discomfort. And that's going to be key. Okay. So say yes to invitations. Don't worry about, how you're going to blend into a situation. Realize that people are looking at you and just really happy that you're there. Be yourself. Authenticity is attractive, and that's going to be the most important thing in this moment. But there could be an unexpected partnership coming in. Let's take a quick moment before I go too deep into the spread and just get a pulse check for how everything looks this month. Communication and clearing the air, definitely something we want to look at. Speaking the truth, because we got the moon card for sure. I feel like the movement here is you're a little bit impatient, but everything is sort of taking you in the right direction. What I have to help you with is a decision this month, and I won't make the decision for you, but I'm going to help you get more comfortable with whatever that decision is. Okay, back to the spread. So Three of Cups here, and then we have the Ten of Cups right on top of it. These are two of the best cards for relationships. So this is what I saw. I said I saw a few groups of people. I just chose the Ten of Pentacles because I was like, let's choose a card with a bunch of people on it. So for these, this is fine. All of the cards with people on it can be a part of this. Six of Cups, Two of Cups, Ten of Cups. I didn't recognize them and I wanted more populated ones. So I'll take these two. So there could be a new friend or love interest. There could be some really cool people. This can be your extended family, but it can also sort of be your chosen family, friends that you like in your life that just sort of feel like they're a part of your family. And that's the big growth, is meeting new people, expanding your network, and having a little bit more fun, because these are joyous cards. And maybe some of you have a hard time giving yourself permission to just sort of let loose and have a good time. It's worth it, okay? So I'm not going to keep sort of like harping on that, but that's the main thing that I'm picking up in the center, is it's important to spend time with people, to network with people, and to focus on exploring, expanding, and strengthening existing relationships. As we go into your deep past, we have the Eight of Pentacles. And this is about doing the work. This is kind of like the repair work that we were talking about that might come through with the plumbing. The reversal of this is saying, I'm not afraid to revise. Since we're entering into a retrograde, revisionary work is perfect. And it won't be the full month. So it's like I said, half of March, half of April, half of March. Half of May. And at the latter part of May, you should be out of it and you should be able to look at some really, some new endeavors here. We're looking at a magician. If I remember this movie, I need to go back and rewatch it now that I have the deck. He's not the best magician. He's kind of like an apprentice. He hasn't figured it all out. So the Eight of Coins is making sure that you figure things out. And so practice makes perfect is the message that I get, both because of the magician on this card, but also because that's sort of like, I like to remind people about this as well. Spirituality is a practice. You go deeper, you learn more. It kind of comes through the more that you practice it. Same thing with music, with any sort of vocational skill. You may have an affinity, some level of acuity with it, but your acumen and everything is going to eventually come through practice. So this is really what this is saying is learn a little bit more. This is great if, by the way, if you want to go back to school, if you want to get certification, anything of that nature, this card is absolutely supporting that and applauding that. Okay, Five of Swords. Here's your challenge. Here's why I saw plumbing issues in my dream. So Five of Swords isn't the best listener or communicator, and it's usually because of the listening piece. So when you are engaged with the Five of Swords character in your life, basically what happens is they hear what you say, but they are either putting filters on top of that, or they've prejudged what they think you want to say, or they're simply, it's like the old Charlie Brown, wah, 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 wah. They're not listening to the words are going in their head, but they're not sticking. And so what they're doing instead is thinking about what they want to say to you or how to retort or come back or win this argument. And essentially when you're engaged with the Five of Swords person, no one wins, basically. There's no winner. So the best thing to do is to step away and come back when they're more tuned in, or just maybe not try to talk to this person anymore. It might be the wrong connection. And it may, sort of like when we think of electrical wiring, when you think of even like a bypass in the body, sometimes you have to go around a blockage so that you can get back into the flow. So there's someone there that's blocking things, and the word that comes to mind, the image that comes to mind is a bypass. So don't waste time, bypass that person. Go to someone who can make the decision, go to someone who can listen to you, who might have the resources or at least the interest to listen to what you have to say. That's a potential block. For you, it's just about being a more active listener. Now you have two cards that stuck together when we were looking at the crowning position. We're going to focus on the main opportunity, but then this is what's really informing it. So the main opportunity for you right now is to step into more power, empowerment, authority, to really put things into motion. The Empress is one of the most powerful cards I could pull in all of the cards in the deck. So this is really auspicious. If you're ready to do something, the stars are aligning, the universe is supporting you. It's saying, yes, let's do this. But part of this basically requires more responsibility, accountability, and visibility. Notice how all of those words have ability in it. You have the ability to be more visible. You have the ability to take things to account. It's just really about owning the ability. And that's the main message here. You've got it. You are able-minded and able-bodied, but you just have to believe it. And that is a nice segue to the card beneath it, which is Judgment. So Judgment isn't always it isn't always like what's happening around us. It's also what we believe. So if you judge yourself as being unworthy, incapable, or unprepared for something, then the universe takes a step back and says, all right, let me know when you're ready. It's also about knowing that there are certain things out of our control, and it's about our reaction to those decisions. That's where the power comes. So I can't change someone else's feeling about me. I can't really change let's talk about like if there's something financial happening, if someone's going to buy or sell something, I can't change that. But what I can do is react, choose what my reaction will be, or choose if I want a reaction at all. So the judgment is basically a decision of what's next, and are you going to you can rise up from any sort of setback as well, okay? Judge yourself less harshly, judge others less harshly. We can take it at surface value, because really judgment is between you and the creative force, whatever you call it. So anybody that says you're not this enough, you're not that enough, they're just throwing stones, and they really don't have any right to do that. At the end of the day, it's their opinion. So live and let live. Don't judge. Allow for things to flow. And know that judgment is one of my favorite cards. The typical illustration would show an angel at the top and souls rising up from the dead, which means that you never have a dead end. You never stop. You never really stop energetically. There's an illusion that death is an end. Death is just a transition. So symbolically, when we look at cards like death or judgment, it's really saying, oh, you're just moving into something new. And what you're really moving into is this new empowerment. And this kind of happens when you grow up, right? This is you being no longer needing maybe mother, father, grandfather, whatever in your life. It's sort of like, no, I'm all of that for myself. I can take care of myself. We all go through that sort of phase in our teens. And then later in our life, maybe when parents aren't there, you're like, I wish they were still here, but I know I can do this for myself. So you can do this. You may wish or want for more support, but you can do this. You can do this if you allow yourself to do this, I should say. What's the challenge as we're allowing you to kind of move into this next phase of your life? It's you're impatient. It's really, it would be nice to know everything now and have all the cards on the table like we have in front of us. But when it comes to pivotal changes, it's almost as if there is a light bulb, like something flicks on, but then the movement keeps happening. So let's say when you get married, taking the vows, probably the least interesting and least eventful piece. Like it's emotional, but the work happens the moment you leave wherever you got married, head into the car, head home, and start building a life together, right? That's when the work happens. That's when the fun, that's when all the other stuff happens. Gathering in front of your friends, that's just fun. Maybe a little bit butterflies, but the work happens after. When someone passes away, yes, that's a pivotal moment and there's a big thing there, but it's then the adjustment of being without them. So when you're either getting married, getting divorced, having a child, or losing someone in your life, these moments, the initial moment is big, but the stuff after it's even bigger, because that's where your power exists. And that's really what this is about. And the universe is saying, give yourself a little bit of time to adjust to the change that just happened. The Hanged Man is upright. You're exactly where you need to be. You may not have all the information, all the cards, all the clarity. You may wish that things were going, a different way, but you're exactly where you need to be to set yourself up for the next big opportunity. Okay? So yeah, try to slow down and drink it all in a little bit and take each moment one step at a time. The Hanged Man is also there to help you get a perspective, different perspective, see the world from a different point of view. So, sometimes we have to slow down long enough to see, have I missed something? Is there a better way to do this? Or who is here with me as all of these challenges happen, and you start to see them in a different light as well. How are you showing up? Pretty good. I like the Moon card. The Moon card in reverse, though, is basically saying to trust yourself and trust your instincts. We'll look at the traditional one, but I want to look at the last unicorn first. So we have a sorceress or an enchantress here, and we can see her kind of casting a spell. So the Moon card can represent an illusion. Now, when it's reversed, the illusion has been dispelled. This is also a card of reflection. We still have the Moon here. The Moon reflects what you need to see. So sometimes even when we feel disillusioned or we break through something and we're like, this isn't what I thought it would be, that disillusionment, which is actually good, it's a blessing. It means that you've gotten through the illusion. It's even if you feel a little grumpy in that moment, it's like, well, all right. There's a prompt that keeps coming through as I'm looking at these cards. Now what? What next? What's the purpose? What's the goal? In the traditional Moon card, there's always a path in front of you. So the thing that makes you feel a little grumpy, is simply a distraction or a redirection to help you see the path that is waiting for you. The important thing with the moon in reverse is to be honest, clear, to talk about things that you might be afraid of, to also talk about things that you might be, really looking forward to, because your hopes, your fears, and your dreams, they comprise everything that are the moon card. So here's your traditional moon card. And so you see the wolf and the dog, and basically this path right in front of the lobster. And all of those three people, basically, they can represent people in your life, three energies. So this can be fear or unknown energy, the lobster. This can be territorial energy. The dog can also represent what you've been trained to do. So we have instinct, training, and fear at this sort of nexus in front of you. And what you have to do is take the best of all of those and then move forward, okay? Because there's something better that's waiting for you. There's a little bit of a smoke screen, and we see it here. Don't let that get in the way of the path. Stay on path, stay on point, stay on direction. That's the message here. People do see you as intuitive and instinctive, and they really want to tap into that, so trust that. Magician, High Priestess, and the Moon reversed. They're all powerful cards, but they doubt their power, so don't doubt your power, okay? What's going on in the environment? Looks pretty good, actually. We have the Two of Pentacles. I see the Two of Pentacles as reclamation of balance in your life. So with the card in reversed, ostensibly we could view this as a deciding card or a decision point. So we have the character here kind of deciding between possibly two very equal energies, and it's like, I don't know what to put energy into. So now there's this understanding, well, for now, this has got to be the focus. And with the Two of Pentacles, unlike the Six of Pentacles, you typically need to put as much behind one as you possibly can. So like, let's say you're trying to do something at work. It's not like a 60, 40, 70, 30 sort of thing. It's more like a 90, 10 sort of thing. Put as much energy as you can, really embrace one of those. Now, and then you'll see some movement. When it comes to work-life balance, it could simply mean that the spotlight goes on one more right now than the other. So if you've been consistently neglecting friends, family, or loved ones, you need to shift the focus to them for a bit. And then the other piece of your life, school, extracurricular or work obligations, it needs to kind of go back, at least for a day or two, so that there's balance. And then you can bring it back to more of a 50-50. But initially, to bring the balance forward, just like if you're like this, you've got to shift in the other direction. You can't just give half of it if you're already kind of like, out of balance. So initially, there has to be a much larger investment in whatever has been neglected, or a complete commitment to the one. And then you're not trying to balance two, and you can find your balance. So it's either saying, I'm in and I'm out on that one, or I'm sorry I neglected you. Let me fix that. And now let's get back to this. Make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay. You can't probably take on anything additional at this point without letting go of something. So before you commit to doing something at work or something for a friend or whatever, you got to let go of something else, or you need to delegate to someone else so that you don't feel that sense of being discombobulated. In a health perspective, and we'll look at that differently when I expand to health, it can also be like vertigo or balance issues, and that's something you definitely want to pay attention to, particularly as we're looking at ankle, foot, and shin, because that's really what this card would show. So we have two cards of balance and sensitivity in that area. What's this opening up in the possibility space? We have the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands in reverse. Some of you are just afraid of what people will think of you. Will they think that this is silly? I don't know. I think that if you're in a safe space, there's no silly idea. There's just ideas, and you can take those as like a stem that you can build on or sprout off from. Musicians know that this is the case. There'll be a jam session, and sometimes there's noise, or maybe there's someone who's composed some, a riff here, and they have like a piano sort of thing here, and they're like, wait a second, what if I take that thing that's not going anywhere and this thing, and we kind of mash them together? Wow, we got something cool there. And then they give that to the vocalist, and then they come up with something, and they're like, oh yeah, and then I could put this piece here. It can be patchwork, folks. It doesn't have to be perfect out of the gate. Music is a great example. Writing sometimes is the same way. So you don't need to judge it out of the gate. Keep an open mind. Knight of Wands in reverse is very stubborn, very closed-minded, maybe a little bit too, judgmental. So what we want to do is go from the judgmental energy to the nurturing energy. And like she's doing, mixing some things together. Take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We'll see how it feels, okay? So that's what we have here is, imagine that you're a chef or you're a musician and you're trying to find the right mix, producer as well, trying to find the right mix of everything, and it usually isn't perfect at the beginning. Accidents can also create something cool too. If you're willing to say, well, I wasn't really meaning to do that, but that feels good, that sounds right, I like that, that tastes good, let's go for it. Keep an open mind. As we look at your final card here, we have the King of Swords in reverse. So in the outcome state, I think I've been getting a few of these King of Swords around the same pivotal spot. So with the King of Swords in reverse, you want to be mindful of how and when you communicate, because it can be seen as harsh or overly direct with both King and Queen. But what they're very capable of doing is getting the job done, making an impact and being heard. So you don't have to speak louder. You don't have to kind of like stomp in on a situation. All you have to do is be firm, direct, and timely, and something really cool can happen. This is also saying if you don't like something in a contract, speak up, edit. If you're not ready to do something, say no. The King and Queen of Swords also very closely connected to like law. And so justice reverse would be a no. And this person can be coming in and saying, no, because this, and this. We need to change these things before I can move forward. So in that case, I'm totally behind the King of Swords reverse. He's being direct and he's saying why and how things need to be altered before he's ready to move forward. Okay? Ultimately, before we even expand the forecast, what I'm picking up on is you're finding your voice, which is great. You're clearing the air, which is a part of finding your voice. There's a pause, but you see the purpose in the pause. You start to see the same sort of color here, that things need to come into focus first. Don't judge yourself. Try different things. Stay open-minded. Don't get disillusioned, or if you're disillusioned, see what the true path is and figure out what to do and really put yourself behind something that you see as worthy. All right, now we're going to expand this forecast and we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Starting off with the health card, which comprises mind, body, and spirit. I'm here to help you see opportunities. If there is anything going on with your health or your finances or any aspect of your life, speak with an expert. But for energy, I'm here to help you out and to give you some thoughts. All right, this is a great card. It's reversed, but it really doesn't matter. If we think of Saturn and some of the other planets, some of them are already tipped on their side anyway. Anyway, it says, my high vibes heal the world. So yeah, staying, and we can see if we pull it back, you actually can see this beautiful sort of like outline of a person. So your thoughts, your energy, your feelings are going to be really important in shaping your world, if nothing else. It may not be a big old rainbow around the planet, but it definitely can be a rainbow around everyone and everything that you're touching, that you're affecting, that your auric field reaches out and connects with. So this month, the goal for you is to go into the highest frequency possible through meditation, through finding the balance that could be lacking for some of you. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to take every piece of feedback to heart. I don't. You can't, because you're not, like, not everybody even thinks about how they sound or how things come off. So tune out of the noise, tune into your heart, clean up your environment a little bit. There's a lot of love and a lot of support that wants to come through in the sort of throes of all of this change. So I think it can be really a good time for you. All right. It might be time to move on. So I look at this, and it's like a globe, which is like the world, and the world reverse can be a necessary move, a rapid move, unexpected sort of move. So if you feel like you have to change something up in the environment, I'm all for that right now. Let's look at some other cards with respect to health. I highlighted these two because they popped out to me. So Hanged Man always has to connect with, well, two things. First, there could be too much stagnation, but we even see a little cord around this what is it? A carrion crow or whatever, vulture, the vulture's foot. So basically this means that sometimes you could have a tendency for an ankle sprain, or there might be, something in the bone, arthritis or something. Just taking care of the lower extremities is going to be key, and not trying to carry or do too much, because you could be perfectly healthy. And if you're moving or lifting weight or anything like that, if you kind of like get your balance wrong, that's how I broke my foot last year. It was just basically the muscle pulled the bone. It was fascinating. So I had a heavy box and I was trying to move some stuff to an Airbnb while I was trying to find an apartment. But basically it was too heavy and I kind of lost my footing, and the tendon pulled the bone and snapped it. Thankfully, it was a nice clean break and it healed nicely, but you can be perfectly healthy and just take on too much, which is why I'm trying to get you guys not to take on too much. And that's the area of vulnerability. If you're having any balance issues, stop listening to me, go to your doctor. But vertigo or just general balance issues, that requires attention. Emotional balance, same sort of thing. But if it's like carrying stuff, you can avoid that. That's something where you're just going to use common sense. This one's interesting. This can hit with your emotions. So someone in your life could just be a pain in the back, a pain in the butt, pain somewhere, because they constantly have to win and they constantly have to sort of get the last word in. And I really do think that disconnecting from this is going to be a blessing. What we see instead is a lot of love and a lot of support that wants to come through. And I would say start spending time with people that are open-hearted, open-minded, and listen. And if you're not getting that listening or that support, again, listen to my daily card pull for today. You're deserving of something far more fantastic than what you're experiencing right now. Don't be afraid. This is just a fear navigation card. Whatever the fear is, inform the fear with decision. And then the fear it goes away, it dissipates. That's about it. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. We got a lot of cups at the center. There could be some celebrations. Try not to go to extremes in the celebrations. So this is about not overindulging. So for some of you, maybe you've been having too much fun or not enough fun, but whatever end of the spectrum where you are on, just try to bring it a little closer to center. All right, let's move on to wealth, which comprises resources, life purpose, and your career. And again, this is just going to look at the broad sort of energy initially. Loving this card. This is so nicely connected to the getting ahead of the tower, right? So if you follow the energetic flow, the tower never really needs to happen because you're feeling it long before it comes through. So it's kind of like how animals are more sensitive to earthquakes or volcanoes or other things happening. They feel the initial rumbling. Pay attention when you feel movement happening. So love that. This reminds me of from Hunger Games, Cinna. It looks a little bit like, because he has the shorter hair. But anyway, go with the flow, trust yourself, and know that you can also create your own new sort of reverberations and movements. So we see him touching the water around him and saying, let's make this happen. So never underestimate your power. Also, we're looking at the sundial around him too. So for some of you, there might be a seasonal sort of timing that's happening here. We just entered into a new season, but I would say you're in a 3-month cycle here, where as you come out of this, I feel like you're going to see increased flow and increased opportunity. So don't worry if there's a little bit of turbulence first. Course correct is needed. Give it 2 to 3 months and see where you're at in the middle of summer or winter for my Southern Hemisphere folks. And I feel like you'll be surprised at the movement that happens at that point. Let me see if there's anything else that we need to look at with respect to career. Okay, so for some of you, the writing's on the wall. Judgment can be basically a corporate communication saying, again, a merger. It could be a layoff. It could also be a promotion, but it's usually pretty big. And it's not a surprise because it's being communicated and you probably heard rumblings about it, but this is like the final thing. Now you're going to take power over this and do something about it. You're either going to stay on the ship or you're going to get off the ship and do something yourself. Okay, so that's the main thing here is you've been told or you've learned or you've figured something out. Now you're going to do something about it. Don't wait. We don't have the tower yet, and that's good. So don't wait for the tower. Go with the flow and go in a place where the energy is taking you. Always go where the energy is. That's the important thing. If you're not feeling the connection, if the flow is broken, and we talked about that with the plumbing, then bypass that and go in a different direction. Some of you are feeling just impatient, stuck. I think the important thing here is to communicate your wishes, desires, and aspirations, but if it's not being heard, if it's falling on deaf ears, then it's time to go in a different direction as well. If you're looking to do something on your own, this card supports that. Financially, it's looking okay here with the Eight of Pentacles. Because we're entering into a retrograde period, you want to be super clear on contracts. If it can happen before or after, perfect. Life doesn't wait for the planets sometimes though. So if you have to do something in retrograde, just prepare, get a good lawyer, take your time, sleep on things, be slow, be methodical during this period, and that will help you get through any sort of smoke screens. You're exiting in a really good way though. You're finding your balance, Two of Pentacles reversed. You're opening your mind, Knight of Wands, and then King of Swords, you're finding your voice. So all of these are very good cards to end on. And this is saying take your time and really feel each one of those energies out, okay? All right, I like what I see here. The other thing is if you're looking for a new opportunity, it comes closer to home. Friends or like a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend of a friend, which is why I want you to go to some of these gatherings. I think it will be auspicious for you and something good can work out from that. Okay. Let's move on to love and relationships. I like to first read it as everything. So romantic, platonic, friends, family, and then we'll take a deeper look at the close relationships in your life. So we're going to start off with this Fire Guardian card in reverse, and it says igniting your passions. Now, if the passion card is reversed, something in your life isn't sparking the passion. Maybe it's the job, maybe it's your love interest, maybe it's an activity. If the spark is missing, you either rekindle it, or if it never existed to start with, you give yourself permission to release that and find where the spark exists. So we're either fanning the flame so that there's more, or we're admitting that no amount of work is going to create a spark that we don't feel. Simple. But sometimes the head and the heart don't align. So it may not, this is what you want to listen to. It may not make sense here, but this knows where the wise decision is. So tune into the heart, and it's not going to lead you astray with respect to that, particularly if you're not feeling it. Okay, now let's take a look at this in three different respects. We're going to look at your most significant relationship. It can be the person that you're with or the main relationship that you focus on. For those of you that are looking for love, or those that are happily single. All right. For those that are in love or want to focus on the person that you unconditionally love the most, so it can either be romantic or non-romantic. It's just again, that big heart energy coming through. Well, you know what? It's pretty good. So the Three of Cups and the Ten of Cups are great. What I'm getting with this, though, is there's a lot of other people in the mix. So this, for those of you in a committed relationship, can be extended family. There could be someone in that extended family, brother, sister-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, that could be trying to sort of like get in the middle or pass some judgment. We're getting Empress energy, so it could be divine feminine energy coming through and saying, well, that's not how I would do it, particularly when it comes to like raising children or however you manage your house or whatever. Someone coming in and thinking that they know the better way. You know what? It's not a fight worth fighting, but there may be a need here for the partner to stand up and say, you know what, this is our place, and you can keep your opinions to yourself. I know it's hard. It's probably not going to go that well. A lot of times with brother, sister, mother, father-in-law, it's just sort of like, I'm going to bite my tongue while they're here. But if it's uncomfortable or they're disrespecting your partner, that's not acceptable, and that's when you step up. Or maybe it's a time to make sure that rather than having them in your place, maybe they stay outside of, in a hotel or something like that. But I'm definitely getting some interference. Maybe it's well-intentioned, but it's definitely coming off the wrong way. So stand up for your partner in this case, for sure. And if it's happening to you, stand up for yourself and get support from your partner. You shouldn't be fighting this alone. You shouldn't be fighting in general here, but it happens. It's normal. It's very normal to see this kind of energy in different families. Okay, so that's manageable. It's not fun, but it's manageable. So some of you might be going back to school, and it's difficult to have time to spend with the one that you love. And this is that close together time. And this is also for those of you that might be managing work, school, and children, because the 10 of Cups can be that. It's also saying, well, what about us? So it is about making a little bit of time for the two of you, however that feels. It can just be watching Netflix and eating some popcorn and the kids have a babysitter, or it can be with the kids, who cares? But there's some time. You need to have some time as a core family unit, and then maybe also as an extended family unit. And then just generally speaking, making sure that you're not losing yourself in any of these different interactions, because the 2 of Coins or 2 Pentacles reverse can just be, where am I? How did I get lost in the mix? And that's a question only you can answer, but it's about finding your footing again. Okay? Things may seem slow now. They're going to pick up pretty fast. So enjoy any lulls that may exist. Take care of your mind, body, and spirit in that interim period, and you should be good. Honesty is the number one thing that will either help or hinder or sink or sail in a relationship. So be honest, basically. Okay. I feel like we've navigated the important pieces for existing relationships. If you're looking for love right now, absolutely you can find it. We've got the 10 and the 3 of Cups. It's really just a matter of putting yourself back out there, maybe allowing yourself to, it may not be a quote unquote setup, but there might be someone saying, you should come to this party. I know someone. So that kind of stuff might be good for you. But otherwise, this can be community outreach, volunteer work, schools, courses, studying, and you can meet some people in activities like that. You're bringing in a really strong energy. So this is past life. Judgment or death or 6 of Cups can be past life energy. Judgment is definitely past life. What we get is a maternal or paternal energy coming through. I know it sounds weird, but in previous lifetimes, we played different roles. Your best friend could have been your sister or brother, could have been your lover, could have been your parent. In this lifetime, the same sort of thing happens. So we get a control element here. Boss, parent, grandparent, authority figure. So what you want to avoid is falling back into being someone's mother or them being your mother, because that's not this lifetime. That's not what you're looking for. So you want to see each other as equals, and you are, and be outspoken. So finding your voice is the karmic lesson. Falling out of a parental role is also the karmic lesson. And if you can take your time in that, find your footing, it could be fun. But you either feel it or you don't. So if you are getting set up, or if you do meet someone and it's like intellectually or societally, like everything, that this is who people think you should be with, but your heart says no, listen to your heart on this one. You have choices. You have at least 3 choices, maybe 4. So the one thing that I want you to, because we have possibly like a Scorpio, we have someone coming through with Empress energy, then we have like an air sign and a fire sign. That's a lot. So whenever I get a lot of choices and I'm looking at incoming love, it's saying, be discerning, be direct, and don't waste your time or others. Okay? You're coming through as needing to be more direct or more honest, because this is maybe being afraid to see or say things, and this is being unafraid. So you're basically finding your voice and seeing through the old patterns, and that's going to help you. So, and you could be then pulling in a really strong communicative air sign, which I like too. All right. For those of you that are happily single, then let's look and see what's going on for you. The good news for you is there's a lot of personal development going on. I see a lot of networking. So it looks like you're amplifying you might be working with new people. You might be meeting new people. There could still be new love coming into your life. In addition, there's a lot of work. So your biggest challenge is you're not trying. The detachment's working for you folks, because you're actually pulling in opportunity and people. Now, where are you in the mix? You may have to say no to more things than the people that are in a relationship or single and looking, just because opportunity's coming knocking. And it sees, again, what I said at the beginning, it sees you as a valuable person, and pick the opportunities that feel best to you. Okay. It's a great time to write for those of you that are creative, a great time to build too, because this is like planning and then executing on that. So writing, building, and learning. So personal development off the charts. And I think this could be a really exciting period for you. Let's move on to destiny. We have the 3 mice on this one. Mice are always interesting as a totem. The mice are reversed. And let's talk about the positives and the sort of challenging pieces with a mouse. So a mouse can fit into places that others can't. So you have this ability to blend in. It might not always be right? To blend in or go in under the radar. You can take people by surprise. I can think of moments in the past where I was either in like a dormitory or old house or something where a friend or family member stumbled upon a mouse and they're like, ah, you can hear the shriek. The mouse is not trying to cause trouble. It's going about its own business. It's eating its food, but it's not always good to surprise people. So I think you don't want to sneak up on someone. Communicating regularly, picking a moment and making sure that it's not like, boo, and someone screams. So pick your timing and make sure that you're cognizant of how it would feel to be surprised. Mice also represent things that need to be addressed. Why do they come through? Usually because of holes in the structure of a building, because of cleanliness issues. We're talking about clearing and cleaning things up. And maybe because there are other issues going on in the structure. So I see this as a chance to address existing problems. The mouse isn't the issue. The mouse is basically the universe saying, hey, fix this. So it's like the reaction, but the core thing needs to be fixed. And it's usually something that you're afraid to see or afraid to address. So we won't blame the mouse. The mouse is just coming through to say, hey, there's an opening over here. Hey, you didn't clean that mess up over there. Or hey, you're not paying attention to your surroundings. Okay, so that's basically the mouse is just asking you to tune in a little bit and fix things as they arise. And even better, like I said before they arise. All right, let's look at a big idea for this month and see what it's all about and how you can make the most of it. Okay, we have the Page of Swords and the Page of Swords in reverse. It's really interesting because this almost reminded me of the Two of Swords for a second. I had to look closely. So this Page of Swords is a door knocker. Kind of reminds me of A Christmas Carol, Jacob Marley's face that appears like, right? And then we have the two swords that you would normally see with the Two of Swords. So you may be nervous, afraid, or uncertain of if this is the moment to step through and like create an opportunity or again send a message or open a door in your life. Knock. You never know until you ask. That's what this card is saying. It's a very powerful message from the universe. You can assume an outcome. You can assume a reaction. You can create a whole play and telenovela in your head. But you don't know until you knock on the door and you ask. And that's what this is saying. Ask. Ask for whatever it is that you need. Also, if someone comes to you with a thought, with a question, listen. Because a Page of Swords in reverse is not necessarily always needing to talk first. Pages are at their most powerful when they're digesting information coming in. So listen and then act. And for those of you that are afraid of taking the first step, just go for it. Do your homework, obviously, but then just ask. Typically in my life, whenever I create these sort of narratives of how something's going to be, it was specifically around like, for instance, like quitting a job or something. It never ended the way that I thought it would. Or telling someone something that's been on your mind. Coming out with something or just expressing yourself. Usually the person already knows what you're going to say. They're just really happy that you got to the point and you finally said it. And it's like, okay, now we can actually do the work. So open the door, open your mouth, open your mind, allow for the flow of energy and information, and then see what comes. All right, we're going to now take a look at Sun, Rising, and Moon messages. As I said before, you can also use this for Venus, but for time reasons, I really just look at Sun, Rising, and Moon. You can look at it for any aspect of your chart, including, any sort of transits and all of that. I just kind of keep it simple for everybody. All right, so let's look at Sun, Rising, and Moon and see what is coming through. Sun, Rising, and Moon. Wow, we got some major cards here. For the Sun sign messages, pretty good. All right, so for anybody that is Virgo, Sun, you've got a really good energy coming through with the Queen of Wands. She is the ultimate or penultimate, but sometimes I see her even more powerful than the King card. She's a great boss. She has the ability to create movement, action. She gets people inspired. She can take a dime and make it like go further than anybody else. So I like her ability to basically create something from sparse resources. Some of you may think, is this enough? Can I do it with this? And this card is really saying, yeah, of course you can. You've done it with less before, probably. Your innovation, your intuition, and your ability to lead are what are most important. This is definitely an outspoken card, but it really is about bold strokes and bold movement. So be the boss. Typically, we would see her in the desert with a black cat and a sunflower. So it's representing ancient knowledge, a lack of resources, but growth nonetheless, and then power and magic. The cat is magic. So I like her of all the queens because she can make something out of what feels like it's nothing, but she sees the potential. So see the potential, work with limited resources and create more. Don't be afraid to ask for more too if you're seeing limitations. Also tell people an idea, say, this may sound counter to what you initially thought, but let me show you why it's valuable. I can see why you might be nervous, but let me assuage your concerns. This is why it will work. Okay? You never want to be self-deprecating. Good communicators can basically, what's the best word for this one? You can concede to why there might be a doubt, but then you go beyond that concession. You can say, I used to think that way too, but this is why I've changed my mind, and this is why I think you should change your mind. I had to go back to my speech and rhetoric class, and that's one of the persuasive arguments, is basically saying you make someone feel comfortable by letting them know that it's all right to have questions and doubt, but you're going to show them a way that can get past that, and you're going to answer the questions that they may have or address any and all concerns that they may have about why something won't work. And then you're going to win them over. The Queen of Wands has the ability to do that, okay? So I have faith in you. I'm interested in seeing what this all kind of shakes down to be for you, but it's a good month overall. All right, for rising and ascendant, the biggest opportunity for change is coming through for you. So for you, we have the death card. This is a very interesting death card because I remember this much from the film. He tries to drink, but he can't. It's basically, he's all bones. He's a skeleton. And this is reminding you that what used to serve you won't serve you anymore. And that's a really powerful message too. So what has come to pass has come to pass. You can never go back into an old way of being. It's kind of like when you're a kid, you grow up, you can't fit into the old sweater anymore, right? You've outgrown it. So something in your life you've outgrown, and you may try to put on that facade or digest that again. But this is basically saying, yeah, that's something from the past, and it doesn't need to be here anymore, right? This is also about embracing the transformative energy that is a part of this card as well. So leaning into change, something new, something different, something better. All of these things are fantastic. You may need time to deal with change. So the Hanged Man comes through to say, don't cast too much judgment initially. Focus on being able to rise up. Find the magic here in the ashes of whatever was and say, okay, now it's time to really work and see what's possible. Okay? I like the Death card because it basically shows you that you're no longer stuck. The change and movement are happening, and this is your moment to kind of embrace, explore, and see where that leads. Okay, let's now focus on moon messages. This is where many of you are focusing on healing a little bit in this moment. So Virgo moon, this is a time for you to step away from any sort of painful experiences, situations, entanglements. It's also a time to focus on personal health and well-being. And we see this bird getting ready to fly away from all of this and saying, I'm done with it. Thank you for the lesson. It no longer serves or suits me, just like the Death card was teaching us. So for you, you have a clear indication. The reason that we're able to feel pain is so that we move away from something. So if you touch a hot surface, ouch, you stop touching it so that you don't get a more significant burn. If you cut yourself, you feel the pain, so you step back from whatever caused that cut to happen. All of those sort of pain serves a purpose, and it's to inform and to redirect. It's not fun, but it's important. So the Ten of Swords is there to inform you of what doesn't work anymore and to help you go in a different direction. Even this card has a positive. What you want to be careful of now that we're in a retrograde real soon, like I said, 21st to 15th. What you want to be focusing on is making sure that you don't meet someone's low communication skills. So if they're throwing daggers and throwing like insults, you're going to say enough and walk away, or you're going to say enough and I'm going to talk to someone about this. But I don't need to engage with you. This isn't worth it. So you don't need to throw daggers. And if you're going to say something to someone constructively, really make sure that it is constructive and that you would want to hear the same. And if you can do that, you'll avoid having someone else feel like they're in the Ten of Swords. But if you're feeling it or someone's trying to make you feel it, redirect and focus on something that is going to be more supportive of you. It's a blessing in disguise. It's not a fun card, but it's an important card for us to experience from time to time. Focus on your back as well. Sometimes this can be a slipped disc or a pulled muscle or something of that nature. Okay. Let's see where we're at. I think we've covered all the main areas. We're now going to go into the final portion of the reading, which includes a final card. I do my best to navigate through everything, but you may have one extra question for me. So if you do, save it and we'll take a look at it in just a moment. Before we do that, we're going to meditate. And as I look at every card today, and we're using a unicorn deck, it may just sort of like being sort of like connecting to the unicorn energy. So maybe we'll do that. I like this card the most. I like seeing a new day. Let's imagine that this is sunrise, not sunset. So let's imagine that you are looking at this beautiful purple and yellow and orange sky that's starting to light up. And close your eyes now as we get into the meditation. Take a nice deep breath. Release any pain or any sort of thoughts that might be holding you back from being able to see your power, your potential, and what awaits you on the horizon. And as you allow your mind to clear, the colors that we saw in there, I really like the kind of purple and pink colors especially, healing colors, colors that connect you to spiritual realms. See that energy starting to surround you and really kind of inform what your auric field is going to look like. So all of the colors basically from the throat to the crown chakra are going to light up your auric field, keeping you open to hearing and seeing what you need to hear and see. Imagine as you gaze into the water in front of you that is reflecting the sun that's rising on the horizon, you see something unique. It can be a unicorn. It can also just be something beautiful. The effect that you have on the world. It doesn't have to be you. It can be the personification of you or the effect that you want to have. See this as your chance to dream of a beautiful tomorrow, and whatever you see, embrace that and see yourself as worthy of that reflection. I'm going to play the singing bowl for a couple of moments, then we're going to take a look at your final question. Just relax and breathe and allow for your auric field to, again, heal and open up. As you continue to breathe, imagine that the sun has risen all the way to the top of the sky. You can feel its warmth and light shining down directly on you like a spotlight, opening you up just like the magician to receive energy from the highest point of the universe. You can feel that energy moving through you. You can feel yourself grounded on the planet. And now it's just a matter of what to do with the new energy and the new opportunities that are coming through. Okay, focusing now on coming back into your body, take a deep breath. Inhale, on the exhale, gently open your eyes. Focus on the question that you have for me, and let's see what the answer is to the final question of the day and the final card. All right, so welcome back everyone. Final card coming through here. We have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is a really good card. It's kind of interesting how this one's illustrated because there's a little bit of sadness or nostalgia in it. The Eight of Cups can be a return to form, a return to something that you thought you'd left behind. It can be a door that was once closed that now is opening again. A second chance at love, a second chance at a job, a second chance at redemption. It's also an opportunity for you to close a door that you no longer need or want to have open. So if someone keeps sort of hanging in your life waiting for you to say what you want, this is your chance to be clear so that they can move on and you can move on. So it can be a second chance or it can be a closure. It's also an indication that if you want to take a break or get some perspective, this is perfect. It gives you a chance to do so without having to have that permanent full stop. So this is something that would kind of constitute like a sabbatical or a vacation or holiday. Taking a break, but with the intention of coming back and then deciding who you are, what you want, what's coming next. It's getting that clarity that's key. Okay? And that is everything in a nutshell. I want to say thank you so much to everybody that showed up today. We finally hit that 250,000 milestone. So thank you for that. Let's keep growing and we'll do something even more sort of enjoyable on the next milestone. I've done a Q&A for the past few, but there's been less engagement as I've gone along. So we'll do something different when we hit 275 or 375 rather. And I look forward to that. So we'll have a vote and some options when we get closer. But please do hit like, subscribe, and share this with somebody. That's the way this channel grows because it doesn't necessarily hit the algorithm as much, but I like what I do and I hope you do too. So help other people find me if you can. Please follow me on social media as well. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. No changes, no punctuation, no hidden accounts. I'm not going to be sending you messages offering you anything. So if anybody is, block and report them. Let me know about it as well. On YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and also Twitter. All of those have verification checks. So if you don't see that, it's probably not me either. Okay. If you want to show a little bit of love and support, you can do that through super stickers, super chat, and through memberships. I'm going to take a couple moments right now to say thank you. While I'm getting that set up, a reminder of my schedule. You can always go to my website as well, by the way. But I'm live every Monday, Thursday, and Friday for all of the monthly readings that I do. I also do a weekly collective every weekend on Sunday, plus a daily card read as well the day before. Or the day of for those of you in Asia or Southern Hemisphere. So let's take a look right now at the members. And again, I'm just giving a little bit of thanks to all that showed up here. Okay, so newest members, let's see what we've got here. Rejoining today, we have the Cool Sexy Witch. Thank you so much. I think that's everybody for today. Everyone else joined yesterday. For super stickers and super chat, let's see if there were anybody today here that helped out. Nobody today. So that's fine. So I just want to say thank you to the newest member. Thanks to the existing one. I see a lot of members that are already a part of this. Thanks for spending some time with me. So like I said before, I'll be back on Sunday. And in the meantime, between then and now, I wish you all the best. Have a great month ahead and lots of love and light from Mr. Apollo and I. He's sleeping in the background, so we're just letting him sleep for now. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.